I was reading an interesting book called Socialnomics, and the author, Eric Quailman or something, he was talking about the idea that the way he sees search going, obviously, when you search for, let's say, European vacation, it's going to be more relevant to you to get information back from your friends about, photos that they've taken and reviews and that sort of thing. It sounds like, I don't know if that sounds like a great idea when it comes to actual application implementation. What are your thoughts on that?
Right, and that's that other aspect that you asked about, which is personalized search. And what's a couple things interesting there. One is they've had the patented material from Tahir Habibullah since 2003, when he 2004. Forget the years. They all sound alike after a while. All numbers starting with 2 these days. But that's the topic-sensitive PageRank. I don't know if you followed that, but what happened is that Tahir and 2 other guys got their PhDs from Stanford. They formed their own company, and 2 months later were bought out for an undisclosed price from Google. Now, wait a minute, time out. I've started a lot of companies before. In 2 months, you can't even get the phones installed. So nice. That was a nice exit play, right?
Yeah.
Well, and if you read the documents, it turns out what they purchased was they purchased the guys, and they also purchased exclusive rights to certain technology, a license to Stanford. I get it. So they're doing an IP play, intellectual property, not internet protocol. And so one of the things that they've no doubt purchased in that, because Tahir spent his entire academic career going to the same places and doing the same stuff that Mr. Page did, and including lots and lots of research on PageRank. And one of them is topic-sensitive PageRank, which attempts to split apart the whole notion of PageRank into essentially n different versions of PageRank based around this whole concept of topic. In a lot of the papers that Page did early on, he talked about personalizing search the same way, by just taking what is a random vector and making a personalized vector. Well, it sounds great until you start actually trying to do it. And then you run into problems that, well, I'm not the same person today I was yesterday, at least in terms of what I'm looking for on the web. And so if it does come into to use, I mean, we have a Google video out there that says that they're now doing it by IP. You don't even have to be logged in. And I don't see a lot of changes. And if you start seeing lots of changes, I'm going to have to eat my words. But I think that they actually turn that effect up too high, very high at all, that what we're going to run into is that search doesn't make sense to anybody. Because we search a lot, but we search over so many subjects. What is my topic bias really?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, so I'm not sure what to do.
Yeah, a few things to chew on there. I do know when you're logged into your Google account, they're obviously tracking all that you're doing, and depending on what you click, I'm seeing that my results, more so with search terms that I'm familiar regularly checking in on, those are the terms you're starting to see those changes, but that's, I think, more based on the clicks, not, analyzing your social media or anything.
Totally right. And in fact, I do this a lot, and everybody has Google Analytics installed, and they have Gmail and whatnot, and so they feel like they're always logged in. And so I say, well, I'm seeing that position 3. Saying, well, I'm position 14. And so, are you logged in?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I am. And sure enough, you log out and hit refresh. So yeah, if you're logged in and looking at Google results, just realize that you're not looking at Google results. You're looking at your results.
To switch gears back to where we were talking about as well, as far as building these links, and we talked about getting articles and getting good quality content out there, do you use any other methods as far as buying links, using blog networks, directory submissions? Do you do some or all of it, or do you just have a few that you focus on?
Well, most of the work I do myself is with really high-end, companies, multi-million-dollar companies, and so that's the teaching I do, and then I track what students actually say they do, which is usually
very different.
usually what they actually do. But yeah, we'll who knows? I should do a survey on that. But in general, yeah, I mean, directory submissions, okay, yeah, sure, do them, but I don't really focus on that. It's really about building out the content. Because ultimately, I have to, even if I have a 10-page website, what's more important to me? 10 more pages or 3 more links to those 10 pages? And 100% of the time, I'm going to tell you more content's better, because it's going to allow you to discover more traffic and more different traffic. So, content is like the focus, and it's just about how to get better at creating lots of content. And there are a variety of ways to do that yourself and using outsourcers. So that's first and foremost. Now, in terms of, yes, there's that external linking aspect that has to be done. We talked about that. So certainly article marketing, paid links can work. And the challenge there is knowing how to price the link, and that's most people run into that. The other thing is it's a recurring cost. It's not a sunk investment. And typically, if you kind of do the math, you'll find out that oftentimes writing content, having outsourcers write content for you, even if it's relatively low quality, is going to beat the paid link. Not always true, but certainly that's something you should look at. The other thing is that there's paid links and there's paid links. Instead of going to networks, you can go directly to blogs, bloggers, particularly in your space. So now you're getting well-targeted traffic as well as a good no-followed link. Those are really good strategies to use. And again, you can write out in 30 minutes, you can write out exactly what you're looking for so somebody else can get on the phone and start doing that. You don't have to actually do that yourself.
Yeah.
And then what have I left out?
Blog networks?
Oh, blog networks. Blog networks can work. Again, the challenge here is to the extent to which those things are already exposed and known about. And it's well known that Google has a very ivory tower view of linking, right? They don't, apparently, despite as rich as they are, they don't actually score the game based on money, apparently.
Until they became listed.
Exactly right. At least some part of the company is tracking that. But the challenge with blog networks is they really are obviously only to get ranked. I mean, that's the whole point of them. That's the reason we do it, right? And I've done it too. And so in order to pass the absurd, actually unreachable standard that Google has put in place, you would have to just simply have to hide. I mean, there's no other way around it. You can't say, oh, well, I really like the traffic from that blog network. Oh, yeah, right, whatever. It's really, because you're doing it only for ranking, you just have to make sure that Google doesn't know you're doing it. Now, bear in mind that even with the tens of thousands at last report, people in foreign countries, foreign even for the both of us, that are doing the spam detection stuff, when you look at what Matt Cutts shows that his spam team works on, you go, wow, I thought I was a spammer? No way. I mean, there's some amazing stuff that they have to find. So it's like, we are not public enemy number one. Almost nothing that we ever consider doing is kind of above threshold for Matt's team. That said, you can still trip a filter, you can get reviewed, and then you're in the bin. And so it's very important to just realize that we're going to want to firewall some things. So what I teach, and I haven't actually taught this in a while, but in terms of a network strategy, you want to make the closer you get to the thing that pays the rent, the wider and wider you want to get. And so your e-commerce site, you'd have no inbound links that you built, at least, that are even marginally reprehensible. And so build your own private inbound links, and you can fake an affiliate program to do that, or actually use your real affiliate program if you have one, and so build in-house affiliates, if you will, that link into your site. And then to get those indexed, now you see you've got some firewall. You can say, hey, I have no idea who that guy is. I'll shut him down right away. And so then you can go to town on getting those secondary sites ranked and indexed. Or indexed, rather. You don't want them to rank, right? You just want to pass all of the page rank through to your main site. So if you can do that, where you've got this distance between you and anything that could be open to real question, then you're safe.
The age-old question is, or the age-old argument being, you can't really get in trouble for inbound links to your own site, because if that was the case, you would just go to your competitor, link with a whole lot of bad links, and take them out of the index. How does that sort of play into what you were talking about there?
Exactly, and that's the trick. You're absolutely right. The challenge is when 100% of your links are bad. Yeah. And so if you already have 1,000 links and you can buy into a blog network and get 200 more, hey, go for it. Because you've got enough mixed in there. Now the problem is if you buy two blog networks, one 200 links, another 200 links, probably not what you want to do. You see, there's the easiest, best way to get a computer science master's degree right now, at least in the United States, is to do some thesis on network analysis for search engines, because it's really cool stuff and it results in a whole lot of equations and cool diagrams that they're mostly impenetrable to everybody except your committee. And so, you'll get your degree and you'll probably actually get picked up by Google or Yahoo or someone else. And so there's a whole bunch of guys out there and gals studying how to pick apart networks, right? And that's kind of bad for those of us who've made a living on networks. So the networks, the kind of network approaches that are simple are also simple to find. And that's the challenge. If it's simple to do, it's also simple to find. Now, one of the things that does happen, by the way, is as these networks get ranked, which they will, then what happens is the edges of the network goes all fuzzy because those sites get linked from outside of network. And you want that. And to some extent that's happening because of other spammers that are even less educated. And so good for them. But
doing some traffic equalizer stuff there.
Precisely. I mean, that's exactly one of the things that happens that people are still using. When did that come out? Wow, that's a long time ago.
SEO diapers at that point.
Yeah. In fact, you brought up Jeff Johnson. That was one of the that was one of the seminars I did was talking about traffic equalizer, directory generator, and something or other else. We had talked about at one point in his coaching program and how to make those things not quite as blatant as they are out of the box. But
changing the template like nobody ever did.
For example, that would be a good idea. Earth-shattering ideas.
It sounds like there's quite a lot of ways that people go wrong, and you've been in the industry so long, and just, I suppose, how do you see, in no relation to what we were talking about just then with Jeff Johnson stuff, but where do you see people going wrong? Because it seems
well, and traffic equalizer and directory generator and those things were a perfect example of the era. And this is now, they're different, but what I call it is fixation on the newest silver bullet.
Good timing for that one.
Yeah, right. Because one of my catchphrases is that optimization will reduce the amount of work you have to do, but not to zero.